Now to a quarterback who got a little bit better than Jimmy Garoppolo in the last few hours. I don't know how he did it. Number 19
Seriously.
on your list.
Yeah, it was a tight one, and this is where we're going to go with Carson Wentz. We are. Carson Wentz, Washington Commanders quarterback. I'm still having a hard time spitting that out of my mouth.
It's going to take a while.
I literally only said Philadelphia and the Colts at the same time there when I was about to say what team he was. I was like, the Philadelphia Colts.
Yeah.
But yes, Carson Wentz. Hey. Negatives, he's got some of the things Jimmy Garoppolo has.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the where you just go, oh, you're too smart. You know, you played too much football to do this.
I will never forget that interception on the screen right by his goal line.
Right.
I will never
and against the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, there's a number of those type of plays throughout the year. Or sacks. Or strip sacks, where you go, man, you just played too long. What are we doing? Why are we still sitting there? You've been in there for 7 seconds. No, throw the ball away. Get out of the pocket. Well, he takes a sack. Or the ball gets strip sacked and fumbled. So, I didn't mean to start with the negatives here, but just because we were kind of talking about with Garoppolo.
You're like, he's moved ahead of Jimmy Garoppolo, but he's been bad.
There's a lot of similarities to why they're here where they are.
Sure.
You know, he, though, okay, what I would say is, you know, yes, can force the ball into tight windows. Has some of those issues. Won't get off a receiver because I'm going to throw it in there. He's going to come open. Here he comes. I'm going to keep saying on him. No, get off him. Go to number 2. Go to number 3. No, don't just force it in there and try to throw it in there because you wanted to throw there. There's some of that there. All right? So it's that. You talk about, you know, the dumb interceptions, and those are some of the similarities with Garoppolo, except here's the difference to me. You know, Wentz can really make some game-changing plays and throws. There's a difference there. You know, and again, he's not on the 49ers with Deebo Samuel and George Kittle in the best run game in football. And people got to remember that too. We're all on the same team here. You know, he didn't have that type of talent around him that Garoppolo did. But
Pittman was pretty good.
Pittman was good.
Jonathan
Definitely
Taylor
no doubt
was
about
awesome.
it.
Maybe the best running back in the league.
He did really good. I get it. I still don't think we're going to put that quite in the 49ers category quite yet. But, you know, he can stand in there. I will say this, the pocket collapsing, people bearing down on him. He's phenomenal that way. He can make big-time throws down the field. He can make big-time power plays and power throws to what we were talking about with Jimmy Garoppolo. We don't have to always worry about, you know, trying to find a way to get the ball to the receiver 8 yards over the middle and find 7 different moving parts to do that. They can just call plays and go, damn, it's one-on-one. There's a 20-yard out route. Throw it. Boom, he hits it. He can make, like, tight window, you know, aggressive throws and zone coverage, you know, in the hole in cover 2. He's reading down the middle. Wait, that safety's cheating. Let me throw a laser in between those two. So those are some of the things he can do that are at a greater level than Jimmy Garoppolo, of course, let alone he's a better athlete and can make plays off schedule. All right? So those things are clearly better than Garoppolo. Now, where it was close and why we're having this conversation, I'm kind of just comparing the two, is he's not nearly the leader or the person that Jimmy Garoppolo is. Does not have that effect. I mean, we're seeing 2 years in a row where teams are like, please leave the locker room. We'll see you on their next team.
Yeah, what's going on there? Let's dive into that since you brought it up here real quick, because I got some other numbers that I want to talk about. But since you brought that point up, we heard about it in Philadelphia, where some people said Nick Foles is a better leader on this team than Carson Wentz. And Irsay, the Colts owner, just told reporters a little while ago, it was very obvious the Colts had to move on from the quarterback. So you don't often hear
strong words.
You don't often hear an owner say something like that.
Really, never.
Wentz responded. He said, "Obviously, I struggled down the stretch. Took accountability there.
Yep.
The timing was poor, but I didn't expect that. I had an awesome relationship with every single person in that building." He says, "Yeah, it came out of left field." So you're saying he probably is overstating the relationships that he had with that team.
I think he's stubborn from the things I hear. Again, this is just hearsay. I'm not saying I know direct from sources. I just hear things from the league. It can be a little tough to coach. You know, I think he doesn't have a great effect in the locker room. He seems to be a little clueless about the circumstances surrounding the team. Again, I brought this up before. You know, you're a quarterback. You got to be aware to a degree. I know we want to block out the noise, but you can't be the quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles and block out the noise so much to the extent that you don't realize Doc Rivers has been hired as the 76ers coach. And, like, somebody asks you about it, and you're like, oh, that happened? Yeah, it happened 10 days ago in your town, and you're a big sports figure. You got to know these things. You know, it kind of speaks to the same thing with Indianapolis that, like, his quotes, he was shocked off of this stuff.
Yeah.
Which tells you that he doesn't have a clue or relationship to a degree to kind of read the room or the feeling of the room or his effect on the room, which I think maybe gets into the, I don't know, stubbornness, whatever, ego, doesn't, relate to the players quite the same way like we heard in Philadelphia.
Would aloof be a proper word?
Aloof could maybe be it too. I think aloof could be too. I mean, I think you're right. I think you can be aloof, but you're so self-absorbed and worry about your stuff that you don't realize like the relationships in the locker room are important, or let me go get a burger with these guys, so they feel like we're in this together. I think there's something there. I can't quite pinpoint it, but there is something there, and I think that's why he's on another team. So that's where it made it close to Garoppolo. That's where I'm talking about. Garoppolo, very good in the pocket. Just like Wentz, probably better in the pocket as far as moving, finding the right spot always, but not so much to where I could put the leadership and the pocket stuff in front of some of the other stuff that I gave Carson Wentz the advantage in.
If you were able to put Garoppolo's rapport with his teammates, his leadership ability in Carson Wentz, we're talking maybe almost a borderline top 10
I mean, Carson Wentz
12,
has top
13,
10 talent.
Yeah.
I mean, he's had years on my list where he was 4 and 6.
He was 6 in 2020.
Right,
he was
6?
18 last year.
Okay.
19 this year.
Yeah, so I've had him, up there. His talent is real. Now, do I think his arm is his arm, I don't know if it's as powerful as it was early in the year or early in his career. He gets an elbowy throw, and that can lead to the flop of the arm and him missing some throws where you just go, damn, you're too good to miss that throw, certainly. And, hey, the other thing, you go back and watch the year, man, he was fortunate. He had a lot of interceptions dropped when I watched watched all the throws back. And again, I know everybody did, but there's a little more with Wentz than there is in the other guys. That's why I'm saying this. And then, early in the year, even though they played some tough teams, his stats don't look that bad. He did not play that good early in the year. He missed a lot of plays, throws, bad decisions, took some bad sacks, put the team in bad spots to where it might not have looked like necessarily his passer rating was all that bad. But you go, man, there were some things left on the field there in that game. And I don't think they were happy with the way he started off the year. And I don't think they were happy with the way he ended the year. It was the middle part that was good. And hopefully Washington can try to capture that to a degree.
Yeah, he definitely cut down on the interceptions. If you're watching right now, 15 interceptions in 2020 with Philadelphia, just 7 last year with Indianapolis. He was sacked 50 times with Philly, just 32 times with Indy. So some of the numbers, if you wanted to make a case for Carson Wentz improving significantly in those areas, you can make that case with some of those stats.
You definitely could. I mean, again, it wasn't all bad last year. Don't get me wrong. There was still a lot of good. There definitely was. But
can we take a look at
the dumb turnovers?
Yes.
The unnecessary sacks, leadership, too many games where I go, too many plays and throws where I go, man, the ball hit the ground. Like, I know one wasn't open, but he stayed there and tried to force it. And it was incompletion. You go, damn, 2 and 3 are wide open. Like, why did we sit there and do that? Or, he looks at one and gets it off too quick, and then he forces the 2. There's too many games where I came away going, shit, like, there was a handful of plays in that game where the ball was rolling down the middle of the field because it was incomplete, and it's like there was a few people open, and that shouldn't have happened. And that was because he's trying to force it or make something happen too long, or maybe looking in the rush and looking to make an escape before he should. It's little things like that I think piled up and probably were the ending of him in Indianapolis.
Well, I'll tell you what, Carson Wentz is going to listen to this and be like, man, I wish I hadn't even made his top 40.
I know. Should I? Well, I could say more.
No,
positive.
You did. You
sure?
said the talent is there.
Yeah.
Here's the question I want. We'll end with this on Carson Wentz because let's take a look at their schedule, and you make a big deal out of this. How a team starts could change the story of that team, and there could be some pressure on Carson Wentz because I think Taylor Heineke is very well liked by that fan base there. Won some games. He's not in your top 40, but he has done it before, and he's got that Doug Flutie kind of it factor where it's I don't know how he did it, but at the end of the game, he pulled it out and made some plays. And so there could be some pressure on Carson Wentz early in the year. They do have Jaguars at Lions and then home against the Eagles. That's an interesting way to start for them.
It definitely is. And yes, I mean, listen, he stumbles and doesn't play well against some of those teams there. Yeah, that could be an issue. There's no doubt. And, you're right that Keenum has some of the things that Wentz we're not sure he has. And that's why Heineke has kind of
same kind of guy.
They are the same kind of guy. Has kind of hung in there is because of some of those like intangibles you're talking about. So that'll be scary. I hear, again, I pay attention to everything. Like, and I saw some comments, I think, last week with Wentz, his arm's so strong. And I'm like, yeah, he's got a good arm. There's no doubt. He can make some big-time plays and throws. They've also haven't seen a strong arm there in Washington in a few years. I'm not trying to be a jerk, but like Heineke and Ryan Fitzpatrick, there's not vapor trails behind their football when they throw it. So, yeah, and Alex Smith, right. So they've had three kind of like very below average NFL arms there. They got him in town. Now they look like lasers there. But it'll be interesting to see. There's some things to work on, definitely. But he is big, strong, can make game-changing throws. He can make some big-time plays. He's a very good athlete to make off-schedule throws. But it's like, can you trust him? And when the pocket collapses or it's a big moment or things are a little hairy, they usually get hairier with Carson Wentz. That's the other thing, too, you start to realize. You go, man, in a lot of big moments, shit as it gets shaky. Whether it's the 2 losses at the end of the year. Go back and watch the damn Patriots game. They're controlling the game. He's begging them to come back. He's trying to throw them the ball. They're dropping interceptions all over the field. He's hitting them in the chest like, come on, let's make this a game. Sometimes he loses sight of the big picture of the game, I guess is what I'm trying to say right there.
Yeah.
That needs to be worked on a little bit too.
Could be his last chance.
This is his last chance. He will be relegated to backupville if he doesn't make it happen right here this year.
All right, and he's not necessarily a great backup guy, kind of like you mentioned with, I don't know that he has the – I don't know. It'll be interesting to see.
You're right.
You don't think of him as a team would be like, oh, we'd love to have Carson as a backup. I don't know if he'd accept that or what.
It'd be interesting.
Be a tough situation.
I hear you.
Be best for him to succeed this year in Washington if he wants to continue playing in the NFL.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.